I want you to put that we are still in lesson 7.6. So 7.6 notes 2. We did a handout on Friday. Now we're going to continue on. We're going to add on, and we're going to do it in our notebook. Okay. So we already know what's the first thing we're always going to look for? The GCF. Can you GCF the polynomial? That's the first thing you're always going to look for. Will you always be able to GCF the polynomial?
No.
No. So if you can, you do, and then you move on. If you can't, you just move on. Okay, what's the next thing after you have either been able to GCF or you've decided you can't GCF? What do you look for next? What's your next decision you need to make?
You look to see if it's like if it has how many factors that's like.
How many terms it has, right? Is it a 2-term polynomial that's left a factor, a 3-term, or a 4-term? We have to look to see because we have different strategies for those different ones, right? We have, if it's a 2-term, we're going to look for what? What operation do we want it to have? Well, what operation do we want it to have, first of all? We're going to look to see if it has subtraction. If it's 2 terms with subtraction, we say, okay, I can move on. I can now decide if both of the terms that are in this subtraction problem are squares. If they're both squares, then we can go about factoring them. If it's a 3-term, what are we going to look? What are we going to do?
Right.
What's that method we use? Diamond method. Okay, we use our diamond method. If it's 4 terms, what do? We try to do factor by grouping. Okay. So what's going to happen today that didn't necessarily happen on the problems on Friday? I want you to add this little note. Always need to check. So besides those things, always need to check if factors, so in other words, you're factoring, you get these factors, and this is even after you GCF. On Friday, we factored the factor that the GCF left for us. Today, we're going to factor some other factors also. So check to see if the factors you get can also be factored. Oopsie, I meant to use the word also there. So we're going to factor until we can't factor anymore. And then we're not going to forget about the factors that we had at the beginning of it or along the way. We'll just arrow them down so we don't forget about them, okay? Okay, number 1. We're going to factor this polynomial. AB to the 4th, take away 16a. First thing we look for is what?
Is it subtracting?
No, GCF. Is there a GCF for this? Really? 1 and 16, we could have a 1, but is that going to get us anywhere when we're GCFing and just a 8? 8. Oh, we can GCF out an A? Okay, so we're going to do A as our GCF. And so that's one of our factors, and the resulting factor is what?
B4 minus 16.
B to the 4th, not B4, minus 16. Okay, now this is like Friday. We would say, oh, that A, we'll arrow it down because we know we can't leave it out at the end. But now we're going to factor that resulting factor that we have there. It's a how many term polynomial?
2.
2. Does it have subtraction?
Yes.
Yes. Are B to the 4th and 16 squares?
Yes.
Yes, so we can do our work for the difference of 2 squares. We can take the square root of B to the 4th. We can take the square root of 16. Square root of B to the 4th is?
B to the 2nd.
B to the 2nd, or B squared. And the square root of 16 is? 4. 4 times 4 is 16. So now we have both factors start with B squared. Both factors end with 4. One has addition, the other has subtraction, and we'll put our A out front of those guys. Trey.
What can't those be factored?
Oh, can any of those be factored now? Which one? Or ones? Both of them, okay, well, that's the decision we do have to make. Can b squared plus 4 now be factored?
No.
Does it have subtraction? No, so it can't. Okay, how about b squared minus 4? Does it have subtraction? Yes, is b squared a perfect square?
Yes.
Is 4 a perfect square? Oh, so now we're factoring that factor. So let's arrow these guys down so we don't forget about them. And we're going to take the square root of b squared. We're going to take the square root of 4. And we get, what is the square root of b squared? B. And the square root of 4? 2. So this factor now gets named as these factors. What are they? What's b squared minus 4? What's its factor name, Brighton?
B plus 2 and B minus 2.
Okay, b plus 2 and b minus 2. That's the b squared minus 4 we just factored. Now we'll bring down our other factors that we arrowed so that we wouldn't forget them. And we have our, hopefully our final answer. Now we're going to look at b plus 2. Can we factor that? Can we factor b plus 2? No, it doesn't have subtraction. How about b minus 2? It has subtraction.
But 2 isn't a perfect square.
2 isn't a perfect square, nor is b, right? Neither of them are. So we're going to circle this as our final answer. We have done everything we can possibly do. So we can't quit. We now know all the factoring methods there are, and we can't quit till we know that we can't factor even a factor anymore. Okay? Any part of that you want to go back and talk about? Okay, then let's go on to a second one. We're going to factor 3x cubed plus x squared minus 12x minus 4. First move. First move. Add the opposite. You know why we're going to add the opposite in this one? Because it's not just a two-term polynomial, is it? If it's a two-term polynomial, those are the ones we don't want to change to add the opposite. We want to leave it as subtraction. Is this a two-term polynomial? No, so we're going to change that to add the opposite for those subtractions. So let's get that done first. Okay, first question. Can you GCF it?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Okay, what do you think GCF is, Trey?
No.
Are there x's in all 4 terms? No. Is there any number that can be divided out of all 4 terms? No, I'm going to say this one can't be GCF. Okay, so let's just make that little note to ourselves over here. No GCF, sorry, can't do that. We're ready then just to move on and say how many terms does it have? And which method should we use? Factor by grouping, because it's a 4-term polynomial. So we will make our groups. We've already changed our subtraction to add the opposite, so we can just stick our parentheses in and use our factoring by grouping method. Okay? What's the GCF of the first group? Okay, this, you know what, this, I want to put this up here. No GCF, otherwise it's going to look like we can't factor that. Okay, let me get that out of there. We can't GCF the original polynomial. Now we are starting to factor by grouping, and there will be GCFs for the groups. So, what's the GCF of the first group? X squared, okay. So what's the result?
3x plus 1.
3x cubed divided by x squared is 3x, x squared divided by itself is 1. Okay. What's going to be, now we'll bring down our addition sign between our 2 groups. What's going to be our GCF for our second group?
Negative 4.
Not positive 4?
No.
Why negative?
Because a negative, right, is gonna change that to a positive.
It's gonna be positive.
Yeah, we want a positive 3x, don't we? Not a negative 3x. So if we use a negative 4 as our GCF, can we shoot any x's in our GCF or just the negative 4? Just the negative 4. Okay, so negative 12x divided by negative 4 is the 3x. That was our goal. And negative 4 divided by negative 4? 1. Okay. So what's our factored name now?
X.
Up Brighton?
3x plus 1, x to the second minus 4.
Plus negative 4, which really does become, as you just stated, that is really the same as x squared minus 4 if we clean it up, right? Okay, are we done?
No,
Why not?
that we didn't factor, x squared.
Yeah, we have a 2-term here. Can we factor that one? Can we factor 3x plus 1?
No.
Why not?
It's got a plus.
It's got addition. Okay. We have to run through the test here though because this one does have subtraction, so we have to say is x squared and 4 perfect squares?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, they are. So we're going to bring this one down so we don't forget about it. And then we're going to do our work for factoring or for finding the factors for x squared minus 4. And then we'll write the factored name for just that factor first. Isaac?
Can you switch the 3x plus 1 and the x squared minus 4 around?
Sure, it can be at the end instead of the beginning. Yeah, they can. Cameron?
X plus 2 and x minus 2.
Okay. And then we'll bring down our other one that we said we can't factor, but we can't forget it. Has to be part of the final name. And then we have to run through the test again. We got 2 new factors here. This one has addition, so we don't have to worry about it. This one has subtraction. Is x a perfect square or 2 a perfect square?
No.
No.
And neither of them are, and they both have to be, so we say, guess what? We must be done then. Okay, we are going to do one more. I thought it was just a couple, but sorry, I'm going to put you through one more. Because I want you to see that sometimes... But before we do, does anybody have anything about this that you can't quite understand? We need to go back and talk about it. Okay, trusting you're all feeling pretty good about it. Number 3, last one. 4x cubed minus 6x squared minus 12x plus 18. Okay, is it a 2-term polynomial to start with? No, so when it isn't, what are we going to do? Change subtraction to add the opposite. So let's get it renamed. Okay, first question. Can it be GCF?
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
Can't.
Yes.
Yes.
No.
Okay, you people that are saying yes, you better convince those people who are saying no.
You can take
Josh?
2.
2. So all 4 terms can be divided by 2?
Yes.
Okay. Is 2 the best GCF? Can't get any better than that?
Yes. Oh, I think so.
Can you divide everything by 4?
No.
Kind of looks like you should be able to, but you can't, can you? 6 isn't divisible by 4.
2
Okay.
x.
How about x's? Are
We
there any
can't do
x's?
x. This is the 18. That's what I'm next week.
Can we divide out into 2x?
We can't do 2x.
No, because the last term doesn't have any x's in it. So our GCF is just 2. So we're going to GCF out of 2. So 2x cubed plus what? Negative 3x squared plus what? Negative 6x plus what? 9. Remember, you can kind of run it through the test. You look at all those numbers now and say, is there anything bigger than 1 that could be divided out of 2, 3, 6, or 9? I don't think so. Okay, so Now we're ready to say, you know what, that GCF, we can't forget about it, so we'll arrow it so we don't forget about it. And then we will look at it and say we have a how many term polynomial? 4, which means we need to try factoring by grouping, right? Okay, so we'll make our groups. 2x cubed plus negative 3x squared. Here's a group. And then negative 6x plus the 9. Okay, go ahead and factor that one by grouping because I'm feeling like you know how to do this without me now. Now, I haven't brought down my GCF yet from the beginning. All I've done is just factor that 4-term polynomial. See if you agree with me. Do we get to be done?
No.
After we bring the GCF down? No. We gotta look at this one, we gotta say, we got a binomial factor. The first one, 2x minus 3. Binomial, it's got subtraction. Is it the difference of 2 squares? No, 2x is not a square, nor is 3. We look at the other factor. It's a binomial. It has subtraction. Is x squared a perfect square? Yes. Is 3 a perfect square?
No.
No. They both have to be, don't they? Okay? So can we factor x squared minus 3?
No.
No, we can't. And we bring down that GCF that we had in the beginning, our 2, and we have our final factored main answer. Okay? So we gotta keep checking to see if factors that we already got can still be factored, and if they can, we gotta factor them some more, and we gotta be have them completely factored. Any questions? Okay, then let's get out some loose leaf to show your work on, your homework. And the only thing I want on the worksheet itself are the answers, okay?